Yeah, man, my name is Jimmy. I come from Jamaica, bro. We're gonna sing Mato Vu. Oh, 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 oh. Mato Vu, oh Halecha, Yaakov. משכנותיך ישראל, מה טובו אוהליך יעקב. משכנותיך ישראל. This comes from the portion of Balak. Bilam thinks he's gonna curse Israel, but really in the end his plan derails into nothing and it ends up blessing Israel. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Bilam thinks he's bad. He's really good because he blessed Israel instead of putting them in a bad mood. He did not curse them. He did bless them. He blessed them with these words. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Yo, Bilam did not curse Israel. He ended up blessing them with the following words: Matavu ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. He talked to a donkey, beat it up. He beat it up, but the donkey still loved him a lot and it caused him a lot. But he ended up being bad. He never turned a new leaf. He ended up being a villain forever and ever and ever. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Everybody listen, gather around. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Israel. Listen to those words. Research them. The translation in English. They are good. Good words Bilam spoke, but he meant to curse Israel. He ended up blessing them instead. The donkey helped a lot, but he still ended up being bad. Matavu alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu ohalecha Matavu ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Israel.
Shavua Tov, everyone, and welcome to Avatami Havdalah service and Maasei HaShlichim. Wow, what an evening we have tonight. Tonight we have Rabbi Dr. Bernstein in the house, Acts chapter 22, verses 22 through 30. Welcome, everyone. I hope you all had an amazing Shabbat wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to hit share and hit like and tell your friends and family that it is time for Havdalah. We can feel God's presence here as we are closing out the Shabbat together. And I'm very, very thankful to have the opportunity to do this holy service, to be a part of this with all of you today, wherever you are, all over the world. Let us enter in to a little bit of worship before we start Havdalah. La 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 la. אני מאמין באמונה שלמה, היי בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין, אני מאמין באמונה שלמה, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, משיח, 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 איי, 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 המשיח, משיח, משיח, איי, 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 משיח, 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 איי, 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 משיח, 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 איי, 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 אני מאמין באמונה שלמה, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, אני מאמין באמונה שלמה, בביאת המשיח, אני מאמין, ואף על פי שיתמהמה, עם כל זה אחכה לו, בכל יום שיבוא, אני מאמין, ואף על פי שיתמהמה, עם כל זה אחכה לו, בכל יום שיבוא, אני מאמין. הודו, הודו, הודו לאדוני, הודו, הודו, הודו לאדוני, הודו, הודו, הודו לאדוני, כי לעולם חסדו. הודו, הודו, הודו לאדוני, הודו, הודו, הודו לאדוני, הודו, הודו, הודו לאדוני, כי לעולם חסדו. לא לנו, כי לך ישועה, כי לך ישועה. לא לנו, כי לך ישועה, כי לך ישועה. We're in the business of the Torah. Hey, let's all dance the hora, because he is Melech HaMlachim. We're in the business of the Torah. Hey, let's all dance the hora, because he is Melech HaMlachim. We are in the Esek. Yeah, we're in it. In the Esek of the King. Let's enter in together. The business is so great, and it is important to serve the King above all kings. We're in the business of the Torah. Let's all dance the hora, because he's Melech HaMlachim. We're in the business of the Torah. Hey, let's all dance the hora, because he's Melech HaMlachim. והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל. We're in the business of the Torah, let's all dance the hora, because he's Melech HaMlachim. We're in the business of the Torah, hey, let's all dance the hora, because he is Melech HaMlachim. Amen ve'amen. It's now time to enter in to Havdalah together. We light our candle. ראשון לציון הנינם ולירושלים מבשרתן אל תשמחי אויבתי לי כי נפלתי קמתי כי עזב בחושך אדוני עולי ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון וביקר ויהי דוד לכל דרכיו משכיל ואדוני עמו ונוח מצא חן בעיני אדוני כן נמצא חן בשכל טוב בין אלוהים ואדם קומי אורי כי באורך וכבוד אדוני עלי שרה כי הנה החושך יכס ארץ וערפל לאומים ועלייך יזרח אדוני וכבודו עלייך יראה כוס ישועות שר ובשם אדוני אקרא כוס ישועות שר ובשם אדוני אקרא I will raise the cup of salvations and call the name of Adonai. An Adonai Hoshiana. An Adonai Hoshiana. An Adonai HaShlichim. An Adonai HaShlichim. For a second, I just wanted to pray for all of you for this new week and, for whatever is going on in your life, health, finances, relationship, or just you need prayer. Lord, in the name of Yeshua, I ask you right now, touch anyone who needs healing, touch those who need joy and comfort, bring provision to those who need it, and heal broken relationships. In the name of Yeshua, anyone that needs any sort of prayer, anyone that just needs healing, anyone who needs financial provision, anyone who needs any prayer, Lord, please help them, heal their hearts, and just show them your works. In the name of Yeshua, amen. Ve'amen. הצליחנו הצליח דרכינו הצליח לימודנו נושלח ברכה רווחה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידינו כדכתיב וישא ורחם את אדוני וצדקה מאלוהי אישו ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר וכתיב ויהי דוד לכל דרכיו מזכיר ואדוני עמו ואדוני עמו כן יהיה עמנו תמיד. סברי מרנן לחיים la la na 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 la 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 na 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 la na 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 la na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam בורא פרי הגפן, בורא פרי הגפן. יאללה נה 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 יאללה נה 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 ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מיני ושמים בורא מיני ושמים יאללה נה 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 יאללה נה 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 na 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 la 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 na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boreh meoreh האש בורא מאורי האש יא לילה נה 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 לילה נה 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 לילה נה 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 ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המבדיל בין קודש לחול בינו לחושך בין ישראל לעמים בין יום השביעי לששת ימי המעשה ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול לחיים שבוע טוב, 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 שבוע טוב. Shavua Tov, everyone. La na na la la na 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 la la na 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 la na na la na 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 la na 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 Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Atishbi Eliyahu Giladi Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Atishbi Eliyahu Eliyahu Hagiladi Bimhera Yavo Eleinu Mashiach משיח בן דוד, במהרה יבוא אלינו עם משיח, משיח בן דוד. na 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 na. Na 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 na. La 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 la. La 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 la. במהרה יבוא אלינו עם משיח, משיח בן דוד. במהרה יבוא אלינו עם משיח, משיח בן דוד. Na la 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 na 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 na. Matovu. Before we enter into the message, Matovu o alecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu o alecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Hey, Matovu o alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Everybody listen, gather around. Matovu Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. They are good. Good words. Bilam spoke. They meant to curse Israel. He ended up blessing them instead. The donkey helped the rock, but he still ended up being bad. Matovu Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu, Matovu Ohalecha, Matovu Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Yisrael, Matovu Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Amen ve'amen. Shavua Tov, everyone. Let us go for a special word, brief word with the rabbi. We will be right back in 2 minutes.
Shalom, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And may I take just a moment of your time in this important announcement. Over the last 13 years, friends, we have been committed on absolute mission to teach you Torah, Hashkafa, Devar Musar, things that are impacting your spiritual growth. Over the last 7 years, we have expanded it to Spanish, Italian, French, German, Dutch, Korean, Portuguese, Basha, and much more. Friends, we are in a dire needs now to update our studio that's no longer is functioning. The equipment is very old and cannot be used any longer. The studio suffered multiple floodings that have led us to truly needing to regut the entire facility from the inside out. And lastly, we are truly in great need of high-speed internet to be able to grow this to more languages, to more Shiurei Torah, as we support thousands upon thousands of you. So today I'm asking you to go to Operation Tikkun and please help us so that we can continue to spread the light of Torah all over the world with our Mashiach as the center cornerstone. Thank you for taking this moment to pray and consider helping us to make this tikkun, literally fixing the foundation of our studio so that we can continue to bring you hundreds of lessons free of charge. Shalom, everybody.
Shavua Tov, everyone. Before we get to this evening's Maasei HaShlichim, I have a couple of very, very important announcements for you. First of all, this is a very big week for Australia. Please keep my Abba in prayer as he's traveling to Australia for Osef HaShe'erit, February 10th to the 12th. I encourage all of you to show up either in person or online. We would love for all of you to be there. And then not too long after that, February 18th to the 19th, we have the Highway of the King and the Last Days, a very special yeshiva in Fresno, California. I will be there. My Ima and Abba will be there. You can be there in person or online. We encourage you to come to Fresno. Everyone is welcome. Also, on Monday, the Tu B'Shvat Seder is at 10 a.m. Central Time. I am very excited. I am going to be there, and my Abba is going to be there as well. We are both very, very excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Also, don't forget to support Operation Tikkun to help the studio right now, because right now the studio equipment is old. We've had many floods there. The equipment is just not in the best shape, so we need your help for the restoration so we can have lots more amazing Torah teaching and all this amazing stuff that I am very thankful to be able to be a part of and to hear all this Torah and Bible and all this and everything. I enjoy being in the business of the Torah very much. And don't forget, you can get your Haggadah for Tu B'Shvat free of charge. It is a gift from us to your homes, available in 9 languages. So don't forget to get your copy. And if you want, for $18, we will plant a tree just outside of Yerushalayim. Plant a tree in the Holy Land if you want to support that as well. It is time for Maasei HaShlichim now. We have Rabbi Dr. Bernstein in the house with Acts chapter 22, verses 22 through 30. Rabbi Bernstein, the floor is yours. Shavua Tov.
Shabbat Tov, Noach. So today we are going to be looking at Acts chapter 22, verses 22 through 30. So when we're looking at Acts, this portion of Acts in particular, but the entire text really, one of the things we have to keep in mind is what was going on historically with the Jewish people in Jerusalem at the time. In the words of Josephus, when the Roman siege came on of Jerusalem, just a few years down the road, the Jewish people killed more of each other than the Romans killed them. There were some 20-odd sects of Pharisees, just amongst Pharisees, and there were the Sadducees also. And these very different kinds of sects of Judaism were at each other's throats. It was filled with sinat chinam, with baseless hatred. And consequently, there was a lot of fighting that was breaking out between the different sects, between the Sadducees and the Pharisees. These things were actually coming to blows, and it was happening a lot. So this is a kind of atmosphere that Rav Shaul was in Jerusalem talking about Yeshua, sort of throwing things into the mix as what was understood at the time to be yet another sect of the Pharisaic movement. So Rav Shaul is talking to people generally, and starting in verse 22. They had been listening to him up to this point, but now they shouted at the tops of their lungs, "Rid the earth of such a man. He's not fit to live." They were screaming and waving their clothes and throwing dust in the air. So the commander, that's the Roman commander, ordered him, brought into the barracks and directed that he be interrogated and whipped in order to find out why they were yelling at him like this. Okay? So the people generally just sort of broke out and started, shall we say, strongly objecting to what Shaul was saying. So what was he saying that was so objectionable? Well, the Romans didn't know. One of the reasons the Romans didn't know, we find actually back at the beginning of the chapter. But at the beginning of the chapter, they're telling him that he was actually speaking in Hebrew. So the Romans didn't understand it. So they really had no idea what was going on, other than there was a huge outburst of yuckiness in the community. And of course, they're in charge of keeping the peace, so they didn't like that. So they took Shaul into custody. They were going to whip him to find out what he was saying that was causing all of this. So let's look back at the earlier in the chapter to discover what, in fact, he had been saying. Starting back in verse 17, we're in the middle of his soliloquy. He says, after I returned to Yerushalayim, it happened that I was praying in the temple and I went into a trance. And I saw Yeshua. Hurry, he said to me. Get out of Yerushalayim immediately, because they will not accept what you have to say about me. And I said, Lord, they know themselves that in every synagogue I used to imprison and flog those who trusted in you. I said, this is again another piece of evidence that Paul was a Pharisee. He was teaching in synagogues, in every synagogue, and he was teaching these things. Also, when the blood of your witness Stephen was being shed, I was standing there too, in full agreement. And I was even looking after the clothes of the ones who were killing him. But he said, get going, for I'm going to send you far away to the Gentiles. So what's happened here is a couple of things. First of all, Shaul was amongst the Pharisees and amongst the belief and understanding of the majority of the Pharisees, of many of the sects of the Pharisees. And then what happened? He had a change of heart. This was something that was very, very discouraging to a lot of the sects of the Pharisees, because here they're fighting with each other all the time. I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. And it was coming to physical blows. It was that, or even killing each other. It was that big of a problem simply to disagree with each other. It's not supposed to be. We are not supposed to have baseless hatred, sinat chinan. But this is what was going on. So here, it's going along fine. He's talking about things that everybody agrees with. And then suddenly, he starts to talk about things that people don't necessarily agree with. Yeshua came to him and said, get out. Get out, because they're not going to accept what you're saying. Then he says, I'm going to send you to the Gentiles, to the nations, to the Goyim. This was very upsetting. Why? Because this is the people of Yerushalayim. This is the people of Yerushalayim. For them, the Torah, that's it. It's all about the Jewish people. Everything's about the Jewish people. Why would he be being sent to the Gentiles? Here's a guy claiming that this Yeshua is the Messiah. And what's the Messiah of Israel doing? He's going to send an emissary to the Gentiles? What's up with that? So, the people who had been listening, now they turned on him. They said, aha, now we know that what you're saying is awful. Now we're knowing this. We can't accept what you're saying at all. Why be sent to the Gentiles? This is not good. But the Roman commanders didn't understand it because he was speaking in Hebrew. But as the Romans were stretching him out with thongs to be flogged, Shaul said to the captain standing by, "Is it legal for you to whip a man who is a Roman citizen and hasn't even had a trial?" When the captain heard that, he went and reported it to the commander. "Do you realize what you're doing? This man is a Roman citizen." The commander came and said to Shaul, "Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?" "Yes," he said. The commander replied, "I bought this citizenship for a sizable sum of money, but I was born to it," Shaul said. At once, the men who had been about to interrogate him drew back from him. And the commander was afraid too, because he realized that he'd put this man, who was a Roman citizen, in chains. However, the next day, since he wanted to know the specific charges the Judeans were bringing against him, he released him and ordered the head Kohanim, the head priests, and the whole Sanhedrin to meet. Then he brought Shaul down and put him in front of them. So this is fairly standard operating procedure. Okay, understand the Roman prefecture of Judea, the Romans were in charge of municipal law. But what this was not a case of municipal law. This was a case of theological law. Cases of theology like this, cases of whether violating the Torah of Moses or of the understandings of the Torah of Moses, these things were all brought to the Sanhedrin, and the Sanhedrin ruled. In this way, the Romans could control territories. They had their own local laws and local law enforcement, and then they had the general law enforcement that was the Romans. So this was brought to the local court, the Sanhedrin. Well, it's the major Sanhedrin. If you're Judea, this is it. Doesn't get any higher. So they were going to bring Shaul before the entire Sanhedrin. And what was the problem? Why did the Judeans, why did the Yehudim, why did they have such a problem? Because Yeshua was going to send Shaul to the Goyim, to the nations. Now, what was the Messiah supposed to do? The Messiah was supposed to establish the kingdom of Hashem in Judea, the capital in Jerusalem, and the seat of the government of the entire world was going to be in the Beit HaMikdash, Har HaBayit, in the temple. And here we have somebody saying that he knows that this Yeshua is the Messiah, and that the Messiah came to him and said, "I'm sending you to the Gentiles." This is a very, very big shakeup, and something that they were not readily willing to accept. And so they got upset. And so the Romans got upset, so they arrested him. And now they're going to bring him before the Sanhedrin. More next week. Shavua Tov.
Shalom to my Australian friends. My name is Rabbi Dr. Yitzhak Shapira. I would like to remind you one more time about Osef Asherit. This, without a doubt, going to be a prophetic gathering together with Jewish believers and Messianic from the nations together to talk about the remnant, the day great in gathering. So as I'm standing here in Jerusalem, it is time for all of us to prepare for this final ascension. Do you know what this final ascension is going to look like? Join me, join Dr. Wheeler. It is going to be amazing to be with you in Australia. I wish you all the blessings from Jerusalem, and I can't wait to see you. Let's make sure that we are getting together and preparing for the final gathering. Shalom, everybody.
Yeah, man, my name is Jimmy. I come from Jamaica, bro. We're gonna sing Mato Vu. Oh, 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 אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל מה טובו אוהליך יעקב משכנותיך ישראל. This comes from the portion of Balak. Bilam thinks he's gonna curse Israel, but really in the end his plan derails into nothing and it ends up blessing Israel. Matavu alecha Yaakov Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Bilam thinks he's bad. He's really good because he blessed Israel instead of putting them in a bad mood. He did not curse them. He did bless them. He blessed them with these words. Matavu alecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu alecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Israel. Yo, Bilam did not curse Israel. He ended up blessing them with the following words. Matavu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Israel. He talked to a donkey, beat it up. He beat it up. But the donkey still loved him a lot and called him a lot. But he ended up being bad. He never turned a new leaf. He ended up being a villain forever and ever and ever and ever. Matavu alecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu alecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Everybody listen, gather around. Matavu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Israel. Listen to these words. Read Hashem. The translation in English. They are good. Good words Bilam spoke, but he meant to curse Israel. He ended up blessing them instead. The donkey helped a lot, but he still ended up being bad. Matavu alecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matavu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Israel. Matavu ohalecha Matavu ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Israel. Israel.